Hello everyone and welcome back to Aetherfall. Last time we talked about different passive and neutral creatures you can interact with in the game. Now we're going to move on to hostile creatures, the things you really got to worry about when wandering around the island. These hostiles can range from animals just looking for food to demons specifically out to kill you. The level at which these different creatures will go to hunt you depends on a variety of factors which will be discussed in a later episode. So, without further ado, let's discuss the monstrosities of the island. First, there are praying mantis, large predators to the player that are at their best when stalking silently from treetops. They can drop down from these or from out of holes, leading to surprises for unwary travelers. Their sharp arms are almost blade-like. Very strong mantis can even fly, presenting even more troubles. A skilled craftsman can turn their arms into usable weapons. Moths. Unlike the other bugs I've mentioned, moths are still small in size. As such, a single moth isn't a bother at all, but the real issue is a swarm. These swarms fly towards anything of magical power, including yourself, and drain them of their magical energy before flying away. This makes the swarms not a threat to your life, but to your ability to utilize magic. When in a swarm, you'll be unable to see anything, making the moths dangerous as they allow other enemies to move in on the blinded victim. Think the nematodes from SpongeBob when imagining the swarm. As a tip, attacks that do AoE or spray damage are the best for dealing with them. Tigers. These are powerful predators that can create magical shockwaves which stagger the player, and cloak themselves in flames to be a problem when in melee. These cats utilize stealth to ambush players. Most stick to the jungle region to the south side of the island. Some can be converted to mounts with high mounting magic. Their pelts provide some great magical benefits. Drakks. Nomanians and Lugas aren't the only potential dangers you can find in the sea. Drakks are shark-dragon hybrids that spend most of their time in the water. They are very predatory to the player as well as territorial, and will attack the player, lorks, lugas, and fish with little provocation. Even baby drakks can be dangerous, let alone a full-grown one. They're the fastest swim time of any enemy in the game, and use their razor-sharp teeth and claws to tear people apart. With the right perks, you can tame a drakk and have it as a pet. Serpents. These large slithery opponents can quickly dart towards the player and constrict them. Their large bodies have sharp dagger tails at the ends, while their heads have large fangs that can swallow players whole. Harnessing their venom provides some amazing potential poisons. Demons. These creatures come from a dimension of Inferborous to wreak havoc and are a very rare sight. Killing one gives the knowledge of dark magic, a spell tree that both deals damage and steals health from the player. Demons can range in all shapes and sizes, some humanoid, then growing into bigger and bigger monstrosities. Each of these creatures can almost be considered a mini boss fight by themselves, and will typically be accompanied by rats to increase their threat level. Magic anomalies. These are people who have been consumed by the magic of the island and now have a hive mind toward its energy. Starting as mutes, anomalies progressively say more and more gibberish, while also having more energy radiating off them. They solely utilize magic for combat. Think of them as similar to ghouls in Fallout 4, except they have ranged capabilities. These magical anomalies are led by enlightened ones, who are the leaders of their respective hives, and have a direct connection to the voice of magic. They are considered mini-bosses, like the demons. Anomalies are fiercely territorial with their pockets of magic, especially in the jungle, where they're most prevalent. In terms of strategy, anomalies act randomly when not under the command of an enlightened one, making the leader prime targets to eliminate first. Sometimes anomalies can be seen dragging off humans to convert into their ranks, though this process often kills these unwilling subjects. Ogres, orcs, goblins, and giblings, known as greenskins. These semi-sentient tribal species were created to be immune to magic by an unknown source. As such, They do not use any spells, instead opting for large war hammers and giant war bows to obliterate enemies. They exist in the jungle and the southern end of the island, carving out fortified positions from which they pillage the surrounding areas. Goblins are half the size of humans, but are the quickest and run on all fours to chase a target. Orcs are slightly larger than humans and slightly slower. Ogres are twice the size of a human, but incredibly slow, slower than most people's walking speeds. However, if hit by an ogre, it's almost always an instant kill, making them very terrifying in tight quarters when you can't run away. Giblings are essentially goblin dogs, used to help protect ogres from ranged attacks. Finally, there are ogre lords, gigantic four-armed beasts the size of buildings, and are considered mini-bosses. They can chuck goblins at enemies and will eat smaller tribesmen to regain health quickly. Goblins, orcs, and ogres have a quickie little rivalry, where orcs pick on goblins, ogres pick on orcs, and goblins look up to ogres. Everyone likes giblings though, because why wouldn't you? Pongoy. These are the peak of dangers in Autera, and are a creature I've been referencing in a couple other videos. Each of these high levels can breathe fire as a range attack, and Shadow Ungwai can turn invisible, while Draconic Ungwai have bat-like wings to allow them to fly. This makes each encounter a unique one, as you never know what kind of special abilities they may be hiding. There are several quest lines that involve dealing with the powerful beast, including obviously the Ungwai Hunter Guild, which will give backstories into the lore and biology. Finally, there are the boss battles, and now I love boss battles. Ever since playing Twilight Princess on the Wii, I've loved their concept, and this has only been strengthened by my time playing and dying in Dark Souls 3. It's culmination of the player's skill up to that point. Unique fighting styles, iconic enemies, and great rewards. There are a few mini-bosses in the game, as I mentioned, the Enlightened ones, Ogre Lords, Ungwai, and Demons. Then, there are the full-on bosses, complete with their own music and arenas. There are the Hand of Inferborous or the Hand of Lucelai. Should you reach the maximum positive or negative karma, a powerful entity of the opposite side of the spectrum will appear to eliminate you. For example, a demon dragon if you reach max positive karma, and an angel of justice if you reach max negative. It appears you've angered one of the binary gods and must be punished. Then, there are the 7 gods of thinking. As mentioned in our Pantheon of Thinking video, there are 7 gods that will appear should a player figure out how to contact them. Each has their own unique fighting style and rewards. The Reflection. This specific anomaly was mentioned in another episode, is the last thing stopping you from becoming a god. It's a mirror of your own stats and gear. Can you defeat yourself? The Omen. Coming back to the main storyline, their final fight against the Omen will be fierce. The robot leader has turned itself into a mechanical masterpiece that will use every technology at its disposal to defeat you, as well as its many robotic servants. The Bottomless Pit. Deep within the jungle, trapped in a crater, is a multi-headed monster, a chimera of many different creatures. You'll notice the heads of Ungwai, tigers, ogres, praying mantis, and a demon all mixed into one creation. This, like many others, is an optional boss fight, as it won't pose a threat to you unless you enter the crater. The Man of the Mountain. High up in a mountain on the southern tip of the island is a man who has been meditating all his life. A master of magic will call to you if you can master each of the different skills. He wishes to have a duel with you. This is the opportunity for any player to truly feel that they're the greatest magical wielder in Autera. To counter this, there is the Woman of the Lake, a Nomanian who lives in the northern lake by herself. She's mastered the art of melee combat and will dual wield crystal swords. Now, there's many more boss ideas that could be added to this game. It just could go on and on and on. Though, I feel this is a good start. I'd love to hear all your ideas on what you think a cool boss you'd want in your own game would be. Next time, we'll continue talking about game mechanics in Autera, as the game really begins to take shape. Thank you so much all for watching, and I hope to see you all for next time. Bye for now.